Just a quick reminder today, something I've been thinking about recently is the importance of leaving something to cool off before you send it out. So say for example emails, instant messages, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, reports, articles, things like that. What I've found myself doing in this world where we're so sort of pressured to get things out and get things across to people, communicate quickly, and be constantly on and always texting and being notified with different things that are going on in the world, that I tend to I'll tend to write something up and just send excuse me I'll tend to write something up and just send it out, and then I've later noticed, I've gone back and read through it and thought, oh, there's a spelling mistake in there or something like that. And it's a real shame because I've always considered my written literacy as one of my greatest strengths. It's one of the things that I've always been able to do, and it's becoming almost a rarity in the world that we live in today, that you can actually read and write properly and have a good extensive vocabulary, and to be able to express yourself in the written form effectively, not so much spoken. Ironically, I'm not very good at the spoken part, but the spoken sort of discourse is fine, but the written, the ability to write and to be literate in your written language is what I'm trying to say, is becoming a bit more of a dying art in a world where we have sort of text speak and everything's all about sort of instant messaging, and it's becoming sort of rarer to read sort of non-fiction books, is where I think I developed my vocabulary, certainly, and certainly my abilities to sort of describe things and to explore different ranges of written language. Whereas these days, a lot of time, that isn't as common to read sort of descriptive stories or to write narratives and to have that time to just sit and explore language. So anyway, so I'm going off on a tangent, but what I've been doing recently is going back to a practice that I did at the uni, which was to, ideally, if you have a report to write or something like that, go by the rule of two. So best case scenario, you leave it for 2 weeks and then send it out, so you come back to it 2 weeks after you finished it. And of course what you find is, you all know this, that when you pick it up cold, you pick up all the spelling mistakes, you pick up all the sort of formatting errors, the little missing letter here and there, a little grammatical error, or you sort of think, oh, that could be said more clearly or more succinctly if I put it this way. If you're sending out an email, you might not leave it 2 weeks, but you might give it 2 minutes. So I've been doing it very deliberately. So I'll write an email out, I'll write all my emails out and put them into draft box, and then I'll just have 2 minutes to have a drink of water, take a breath, look around the room a little bit, and then when I read it back, there'll just literally be, maybe there's an S missing off a word or something like that in one of them or something like that, and you think the difference in the impression that gives to someone when you've clearly read through it and in effect where you proofread your email, but more importantly you've conducted the sort of quality assurance over it, so that you've actually gone to that effort to make sure it's good enough and it's a perfectly written email. To me, when the recipient gets it and reads it, that communicates that you put the effort into actually making it a properly written email. It says that you're a professional, it says that you're capable, you're literate, that you're a good communicator, which is an essential of pretty much any job in the world now. So it completely transforms their image of you, especially if they haven't met you before. You send an email, you're trying to sell something, and they notice a spelling mistake. I quite often notice on company websites that I've worked with before, I'll go on the website and I'm reading through, and I'll be a customer of theirs, or I'll know them anyway, so it hasn't affected me that badly, but I'll go on the website and they'll see that they've got little spelling mistakes here, or there's an S missing off a plural word or something like that, and it just doesn't make sense. And you think, it's just a real shame. It really transforms your impression of their organisation. And I have in the past been looking to buy a product, and I would go on the website. I've noticed little things like that it just communicates a lack of effort to me. So I thought it's really important that I start taking more care over that and not be caught in this pressure to I'll just send it out and then move on to the next thing. You know, just take that breather. Excuse me. Just be ready to take that breather before you send out the email, before you issue an article, write a post. And it's also to do with mindfulness as well. It's gathering your thoughts again, because you often find that if you consciously think about it, doing something like writing a post, writing an email, it takes mental effort, and you're sort of trying to pull things together, you're referring to different places, and what you may not actually do at the end of it is be in a state to actually read the email or read the report, or you become a bit flooded with different distractions, so it pulls together your ability to concentrate and makes it more likely that you can actually pick up on spelling mistakes. And I'm not just talking about spelling mistakes, it's also like there's always a better way to say something. If you say it once, you just get the immediate blur of what came out of your head, whereas if you read it through, you can often refine it. You can take out large chunks, say, oh, that doesn't need to be said, or I'm repeating myself there. So it's just going through that editing process, which most of you will do, but I think it's easy to lose track of the importance of that, and it's easy to be pressured by sort of time pressures. If you're coming up on a deadline, you think just send it out, and then you realise it's not as good as it could have been. You know, how often you can always spare 2 more minutes to read it. So anyway, this has gone way too long, but hopefully it's a useful reminder. It's something that I'm doing currently, it's fresh in my mind. I just wanted to make a post about it. Good luck, see you next week.